you've got a product that's scalable. You've got a true investment. Multifamily was built for the investor, right? It's built to make money and generate income. And so if you want to live in a cute little house, buy a single family. But if you want to make real money, come play with the big boys. Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Are you ready to start investing in real estate today but don't know where to start? Sometimes investing can seem way too complicated, but it actually couldn't be any easier than with homeinvest.com. You know the co-founder and my friend Nate Armstrong. He appeared on episode 20, and if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it, episode number 20. Home Invest is a company that allows you to invest in turnkey real estate. Their goal is to build powerful investment tools that make real estate investing accessible to everyone. They have contractors and property managers available for you with the click of your mouse. While other real estate agents can only offer a property, Home Invest brings you a full turnkey package that allows you to diversify your investments, earn passive income, and start building equity in properties. Their simple, intuitive design allows newcomers and experienced investors alike to hit the ground running and to be able to choose the properties when they want and where they want. View easy to understand charts and data to allow you to buy in only a few clicks or just a simple phone call. With Home Invest, you'll be building your portfolio as quickly or as slowly as you would like. And right now, Home Invest is giving our listeners, Pillar of Wealth Creation listeners, a free course on how to finally win in real estate investing. So go to homeinvest.com/pillars. That's homeinvest.com/pillars to claim your free course today. Hello, Pillars of Wealth Creation listeners. I am your host, as always, Todd Dexheimer, and with me on these wacky Wednesdays is John Stiles. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Todd. How are you?
I am fantastic. I got the balloons behind me. I got another birthday party this weekend. It's my daughter's 9th birthday. We just got done with my son's 5th birthday, so we're whooping it up. My wife likes to go all out in these birthday parties, and she drags me along for the ride, so it's all right. It's fun.
Yeah, well, you got to celebrate those kids. And
yeah, they love it. My son, we had, I don't know if I said it on last podcast or not, but we allowed him to invite some friends, and he's a really friendly dude, which is great. He wanted to invite like every last kid in the world. He counted out, I think, 26 kids that he wanted to invite. And we made him narrow it down a bit, but we had a lot of kids at our house still. I think we had a total of his friends. I think there was 9. And then, of course, there's cousins that are, kind of his age or slightly older. He's the youngest, but, it's like there's kids everywhere. So it was fun. It was a good time. And my daughter's having her first sleepover party. So it'll be fun. We'll see.
yeah, very good.
Yeah. So anything new, John, on your front?
Not a whole lot, just plugging away. I am kind of getting ready to go out of town for a couple of days. My sister is getting married in Tennessee, and so we got a little bit of a road trip with my family. So that should be interesting.
So you guys are driving. So Tennessee's got to be what, like? Well, it depends on where you're at. Where are you going in Tennessee? Is it Nashville, Memphis, somewhere in between?
Jackson, Tennessee. It's
Jackson. So it's got to be what, like 15, 16 hours?
Well, according to Google Maps, about 12 and a half hours.
Oh, that's not too bad.
But, with 4 young kids, we're going to make 2 days out of it.
You just plow through the nights. That's all. You just keep your eyes peeled, go through the nights. We've driven quite a ways. We leave like, dinner time, drive, or just before dinner time, drive for 2 hours, stop for dinner, drive for a couple more hours, let the kids out, then you get some gas, put their pajamas on, and then you drive all the way through the night.
Yeah.
And you get there pretty quick if you do it that way. But it's maybe not quite as fun because you're kind of comatose after you're all done
Right.
living.
We did do that once on the way out to Colorado, but man, just shot the next day. So kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, that's the worst part.
So
Yeah, cool.
yeah.
Well, that'll be fun. Um, well, cool. Let's get to our topic. So, John, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're doing today?
Yeah, so we are going to do something very different. We're going to do a debate between Todd and myself, and neither one of us are trained in debate club or anything like that. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see.
But so the topic, the two sides of the debate are: should you invest in 1 to 4 unit buildings, which are generally considered residential investment properties, or should you be a passive investor in a syndication? So you can probably guess which side is which here. Todd, uh, go ahead and introduce your side of the debate.
Sure. Yeah, and I'll say passive or semi-active, but not fully active. You're not the sponsor. You're not the one putting the deal together. You're maybe slightly involved with the general partnership. You're maybe doing some raising or, some smaller roles, but you're mostly a passive investor. Okay. So multifamily, and I'm going to deal with the pros. I'm saying that's the best way to go. That's what you should do versus single family. If you're going to get into real estate and you're not going to be the one buying these big multifamilies, instead of going and just buying some small single families to get your experience, I'm saying, look, be involved in multifamily syndications. And I think that's the best way to go about it. Now, I'm going to start this before, so everybody knows this isn't not necessarily 100% John's opinion, and this isn't necessarily 100% my opinion, but we're still, for the fun of it, going to act like this is 100% how we feel. So just
Yep.
So you know, we might have some differing opinions, but I'm going to only be trying to say mostly pros, and John's only going to be trying to say mostly pros about his deal, and I'm going to try to battle him back and forth. And then at the end of the game, you guys as listeners get to decide. You can go ahead and go onto Facebook or whatever and tell us, hey, I agree with Todd, or I agree with John, or maybe you got a little bit of mixed emotions on it. So
Yep. So you, the audience, are the moderator.
yeah, you're the moderators.
You get to jump in there either on the YouTube channel or on Facebook and make your comments with who's winning the debate here. And
I think everybody's going to vote for me, John.
well,
I got this. Well, let's have some fun, John. So that's fine. I'll start it off. Multifamily. So here's one of the main things that I think with multifamily syndication is you've got a product that's scalable. You've got a true investment. Multifamily was built for the investor, right? It's built to make money and generate income. A single family or even a 1 to 4 unit is built for a consumer to live in as their house. And so if you want to live in a cute little house, buy a single family. But if you want to make real money, come play with the big boys and buy some multifamily. There's my opening argument.
Okay, well, that's all well and good, but thing is, most people don't have the time, the money, and the knowledge to be able to jump into these big apartment deals. So one of the great things about investing in 1 to 4 unit buildings is those are considered residential, which means they can qualify for residential mortgages. So we'll get into many points here, but one of the big pros I would say with 1 to 4 residential investment properties is you have residential financing, which could be long-term fixed rates, such as like a 30-year loan, versus, big multifamily. Often you're getting 5, 10, 15-year loans, whatever it is. So I'll just leave that as my first point. The long-term fixed rate financing is one of the great features about a 1 to 4 unit investment.
So, and I get that. That's fine. But if you're buying real big multifamily, and you're part of a syndication, that company should be able to get 30-year Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac agency debt, and it's non-recourse. And we're single family, it's full recourse. So, or 1 to 4 family, it's full recourse. So if you mess up, or let's just say we have this, let's just say we have a housing crisis, which never happens. But let's just say we have a housing crisis and prices go down by 30, 40%, and you lose your property. Well, in the single family, the 1 to 4 family, you are now liable for that, and you get foreclosed on, and they can go after you personally. So if maybe you have your own personal house, they can go after your own personal house as well. Where if it's a multifamily and it's non-recourse, and the market there goes down massively, they can't go after you. And even now, if you're passive and you're not part of the, one of the loan signers, even if it is recourse, they can't go after you because you have shares. Now, you can lose your money, but you can lose your money either way, right? You can lose your money in both single and multifamily. So I'll battle that by saying, yeah, the loan terms are a little bit better, right? You've got 30-year, and it's fixed for all 30 years, but you have full recourse. And the other thing with Fannie Freddie is those are 30-year fixed, 30-year AM, but they're usually fixed for somewhere between 5 and 12 years. There are full-term amortizations, but there's a lot of caveats behind them. So I'll maybe weaken my statement by saying that there's oftentimes prepayment penalties if you do pay those off prior to the or much prior to like the 5, 10, 15, whatever year. But
okay,
I weakened my argument a little bit by giving you some golden nuggets there.
All right, well, very good. I guess another pro for my side is especially for people that are just starting out in investing, you have the opportunity to do house hacking. So you can not only get
what's a house hack?
A house hack is where you live in the house or one of the 4 units.
Okay.
So, and that gives you another layer of.
You just like chop at the house while you're there, or what?
No, it's hacking. It's just it's house hacking. It's investing, just like a hack at doing something.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you're doing a hack job. No, I'm just playing with you. Okay. So you're living in one of the units, somebody else, or maybe even living. Could it be if you're living in a single family and maybe renting out some rooms? Is that house hacking too?
Yep.
Okay.
You could live in one of the units and do like a vacation rental, or not.
Sure. Yeah, Airbnb type thing.
Airbnb, right.
Okay.
For just the couch, for a couple of rooms, or maybe a mother-in-law section of the house.
Sure.
Or like what I did when I first got into investing, my first home purchase was a 4-unit building, but I moved into one of the units. And because I didn't have a whole lot of money for my down payment, I was able to use a FHA loan, which only required 3.5% down. And in that case, also the seller contributed to my closing costs, so I didn't have to come up with a whole lot out of pocket. I lived in one of the units, so I had basically no mortgage or rent of my own to pay because the other 3 units were paying for the mortgage, the taxes, insurance, repairs, improvements, etc. So
I can't battle that. I've got you can't house hack in multifamily. You can't. Well, I mean, you could, right? You could live in a 200 unit building and live in one of the units and apartment hack, but I don't think that's really the best use of your time and effort, and that's typically not what you do especially as a limited partner. But what I will say is one of the big benefits that I haven't covered yet are you're dealing with experienced, or hopefully experienced, operators on a property that has a proven track record, or at least properties nearby that have true proven track records, depending on what type of property you're buying and the value add and all that kind of stuff. But you're dealing with a business and you're dealing with business people the entire step of the way. So that's a big pro in my mind. You're piggybacking with the type of people you want to hang around, right? We always talk about surrounding yourself with people that are doing well, surrounding yourself with high net worth people, surrounding yourself with people that are kind of where you want to go. And that's especially what you have if you invest in multifamily properties. And with single family or 1 to 4 unit properties, you don't have that. And I'm going to argue and say you're not gaining any experience with 1 to 4 family.
Those are some very interesting accusations. So you're saying that investing in 1 to 4 units, number one, I'm not dealing with, I don't know how to describe this.
Sophisticated people.
Sophisticated people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's your number one point there. And number two is I'm not gaining experience as an investor.
Valuable experience. Yep.
Valuable. Wow.
Throwing mud at you now.
I guess maybe that's a matter of opinion, but I guess I would argue that, you can have sophisticated people and who live in houses,
I'm by the way, I'm not talking about your tenants.
Okay.
I'm talking about the
sellers.
No, I'm talking about the operators. The operators themselves, the owners themselves. If you're investing in a syndication or partnering with people, your partners are sophisticated people, and that's who you're aligning yourself with. So your tenants are still the same, right? I mean, if you got an A-class property, you're dealing with the same type of tenants as if you have an A-class single family. That I'm not saying the sophistication level. I'm saying the people that you're dealing with on a professional level. Yeah.
I see. So potentially you're saying on a 1 to 4 unit building, maybe you're not partnering with other people. So you're not surrounding yourself with other professionals.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would just say that you can, maybe that could be the situation, but you can choose to, hire a professional property management company, or you can still invest in a large portfolio of single residential units and invest in it with a partnership group and, surround yourself with other like-minded people in that regard. So I guess that's my rebuttal to that.
So how about with a 1 to 4 family though, how can you scale it? How can you, because you can only buy a certain amount in your own personal name before you run out of that. And then you got to go get commercial loans, which are totally different. That's typically 5-year or 5-year balloon, 20 to 25-year amortization. So those are totally different. So how do you scale your business in 1 to 4 family, or should you scale? Maybe that's not the goal. What's your pro with that? Because if I'm buying a 200 unit building, I've got 200 tenants, right? 1 vacancy happens, I got no problem with that.
Yeah, well, I would say that it's maybe a challenge investing in smaller residential and scaling it. But it's something that can be done, and I've seen it done. You can have a management company that specializes in scattered site management, where you don't have just one roof, you have many different locations. In fact, I used to work at a management company where that's what we did. And we did it just fine. We had customers that had dozens and dozens of properties all over the metro. So it can be done. As far as the loans, yes, you're typically limited maybe at 10 personal mortgages, I believe is the case. And after that, you would have to get like a portfolio loan from a bank where they bundle several different properties into one loan.
So on the multifamily, a couple more things I want to mention is it's a lot more of a team sport, in my opinion. You can bring, if you don't qualify for a loan, you can get up to 10 loans. Well, that's only if you can qualify, right? So you have to have a good job. You have to have good credit, all that kind of stuff. You can't have too much debt. But I could go and get a multifamily loan and have, because it's non-recourse, there's people that will sign on that loan as key principals, or otherwise known as a loan sponsor. They will sign on that non-recourse debt for me, and then I can get that loan. Even if I don't make a lot of money, maybe I don't have a ton of net worth, but I put this deal together, I can still get it done. And if I'm the limited partner, then I don't have to worry about that. I could sign as the KP and maybe get some payment. But if I'm the limited partner, I don't even have to worry about getting the loan. They get it for me because, they're the ones qualifying for this property. And then as far as the team goes, you've got your property managers, you've got your on-site staff, which is really, really helpful in my mind. And you can easily have and hire just more people to keep an eye on your property because of the scale is big enough.
Sure. And that sounds good, but teams are only as good as their weakest link. And sometimes it's hard to trust other people. They're not as honest and as you would like them to be. So if you're working on a small portfolio or small residential buildings and you're in control, then you can take responsibility and make sure things get done right.
That's a good point. Because we're kind of talking, and I've kind of veered away from it a little bit. We are talking a little bit about, we're trying to say you're the same person. Maybe you're a beginner, maybe you've been doing this for 20 years. It doesn't matter, but you're the same person. You're just going for single family versus. So yeah, good point. You could lose some alignment of interest, especially as the limited partner. Maybe the general partners don't really have that alignment of interest that you would like them to have. So with multifamily, the great thing one of the things that I love about multifamily, it's not nearly as an emotional roller coaster as single family. With single family, it's all about how cute the house is, and it's all about where the economy's at and all this kind of stuff. So it's such an emotionally driven game, where multifamily, there are some emotions. I'm not going to say that there's no emotions, but it's a monetary game. We're looking at this property brings in, a net of $500,000 a year. If the property market sells on a 10 cap, I'm going to buy it for $5 million. If I can take that same property and I can generate, by doing some changes, raising some rents, lowering some expenses, I can generate $700,000 of income. Now at the same 10 cap, I'm selling it for $7 million. So I just created $2 million by my business savviness. Where on a 1 to 4 family, you can't do that.
Yeah, the 1 to 4 units are definitely affected by the local market, by the comparable sales in the local market. So you do have maybe less control over that. You can increase the value by, making improvements or, different things like that. But you're limited, you can't, if the market will only support, we'll say $300,000 for a house, it doesn't really matter if you spend $1 million on it, it's only going to be worth $300,000. So I'll give you that. So.
John, you can play into the market and sell when everybody's emotions are really high. Say that.
You can just hold the property forever and not be affected by market ups and downs.
That's very true. And as I whispered, which most people probably heard, you can play into the market with 1 to 4 family and sell when everybody's emotions are super high.
Yeah.
Where multifamily, like I said, there's less emotion, so there's less of that play. There still is emotions. So you can sell when emotions are high in multifamily, but you're going to have probably less variation of emotions. Right now, emotions are fairly high. So selling, right now is not a bad idea.
In fact, just speaking to that with our current market in Minneapolis, it's a super hot market, and we're seeing small multifamily units selling for crazy amounts. And that wouldn't make sense for investors, but if you want to live in one unit, like I talked about earlier, and you want to live in this specific location, like, we're seeing duplexes going on the market for nearly $1 million because they have the ideal location, right? Well, it's hard to make any cash flow off that. But if you want to live in that area anyways, and just have somebody support your, your mortgage a little bit, then it might be a good play for that owner occupant. And as the seller, you can take advantage of that situation there. So,
John, are there any more pros you can think of that you want to say on the 1 to 4 family?
Well, the main ones I mentioned: more control, financing options, house hacking, and then I would say there's probably more property options. Because single family houses, duplexes, they're all over the place, and apartments, they are, they're here, but they're more difficult to find.
So for me, multifamily is the way to go, whether you're starting or not. If you're just starting out and you've got, let's say, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 that you want to invest, and you could put that as a limited partner into a multifamily. Now, the best thing is if you're going to put it as a limited partner, to team up with a general partner that you can have not necessarily control, but just be able to at least gain some experience. A general partner that's going to allow you to more or less dig into stuff and come visit the property and be able to spend some time with you. The more you can generate of that, the better with a multifamily. If you're going to be a private limited partner, especially if it's a friend or a family that you can really, get in there and get to know the business to eventually be able to buy on your own. And of course, if you are the sponsor, then you've got all that. But for several reasons that I believe in it, and I've talked about a lot of them. So one is the scale, 2 is the non-recourse, 3 is it's not nearly as emotional, it's financially driven. I would say there's more of a team, it's more of a business versus a hobby or an emotion. And it's easily scalable as well. So we can buy, if you're gonna, well, let's say you're gonna buy, we'll just say 1,000 units, okay, and you buy 100 unit buildings. Well, that takes 10 buildings. But if you want to buy 1,000 units with 1 to 4 family, that's going to take 500 buildings. It's really hard to figure out what the heck your 500 unit building or 500 buildings are doing and keep track of them versus 10 buildings. So with all of that, that's why I believe multifamily limited partnership is the best way.
All right, with that, we're going to have you, the audience, decide who won the debate.
And a couple things, John, we didn't mention. Single family, right? 1 to 4 family. I built I built a fairly decent sized portfolio with that. And I have really almost no money out of my pocket. And I did that by, they call it now the BRRRR strategy. I bought it was never called that when I was doing it. I was doing it before it was cool. They bought it. I would buy a building. It was a foreclosure. We'd fix it up and then we'd rent it out. And I would usually get financing at the start from, a local bank. And a lot of times that financing would include the renovation loan. So we would do 80% purchase plus renovation. And they would allow me to take a construction fee as well, because I was the general contractor. So I could take a 15 to 20% construction fee. So that would cover almost all. So I was pretty much all in at nothing with that. Or sometimes I used hard money, not hard money. I never really used hard money. Sometimes I used private money for the purchase, because I would have to purchase it cash. So such a disaster, fix it up, rent it, and then I would finance out of it, and I would take all of my money out. Some of them I would have still some money into them, but then after just a year or two, I gained enough equity in those. They showed a proven track record, and I was able to refinance and then pull all of my money or even more out. And I was able to scale, not nearly to what I would like to, but I was able to buy quite a few properties then. And when you look at it, pretty much no money out of my pocket. So that's a big pro. And that's only an option in the right market, finding the right properties. I think it would be very challenging to do exactly what I did in today's market in most areas, because I don't think there's quite enough value to be created to do that and to still cash flow. That's the key, is to still cash flow. So that's a big pro, I would say, for single family or 1 to 4 family. And like you did, John, you said you got an FHA loan for 3.5% down.
Yeah.
How much was that? How much is that building worth today? About?
Approximately 350.
So approximately 350. How much about did you put into it with your 3.5% down plus closing costs? Do you know about what that was?
Roughly $10,000.
So let's say $10,000, and now you got a building that's worth $350,000, give or take a couple $100,000. So right there, you were able to invest $10,000, and now you own a $350,000 building. Now, if you keep that forever or for 30 years, that $10,000 will turn into $350,000 plus the cash flow it's getting, plus any appreciation, of course. That is very hard to do in multifamily at that speed that you did it in, because of that low down payment, the 3.5% down payment. So definitely another positive with the single family. The other thing that's hard about the multifamily is if you're not accredited, it's a lot harder to find good investments to invest in, because a lot of sponsors don't take accredited investors. Now, there is crowdfunding. There are sponsors that do take non-accredited. We take some non-accredited, but it's just one hurdle. you have less, I would say you have less options.
Yeah. Well, since you helped out my case a little bit, I'll add one to your side too. And that is, if you literally don't have the time or desire to be involved in the day-to-day operations, but you do have money, then if you can just passively invest in a syndication, you can get the benefits of real estate, but not have to deal with all the headaches that may come along with it.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great point. If you don't want to deal with the real estate, but you want to make the money, you can be completely passive, or as passive as you want to be, and become a limited partner. And I don't care what kind of 1 to 4 family buildings you buy, you're never going to be completely passive. Whether you have a third-party property manager or not, you're still not going to be passive with it, or you shouldn't be, at least. So that definitely a good point. Well, cool. I think I won. I destroyed it, but you did an okay job too. But honestly, there are definitely pros and cons about both approaches. I would say there's not a right or wrong answer. It's just how you want to do it. And where do you want to go? And so when I said there's not a lot of value in 1 to 4 family, there's a little bit, but it's not the same as investing in 100-unit buildings. So if you want to eventually be buying 100-unit buildings, I would just get there as quickly as you possibly can. And I think one of the things looking back, what I would have done is I would have tried to team up, whether that's being a limited partner or whether that's trying to be a little bit of more of an active partner and just taking a smaller percentage of a role and profit. I would have tried to partner with people that are doing apartment buildings, bigger apartment buildings, to try to gain that experience, to try to gain that exposure. I would have done that a lot sooner. I think that's very powerful. And who cares if you're taking, so what if you, maybe you have almost no money, or maybe you don't have any money, so you can't invest. But they're willing to take you on in a small role. Maybe the first one, you don't even take any ownership. You're just volunteering your time, and eventually you can get some ownership. That's going to give you so much value to do. So depends on where you want to go, but I would get involved in multifamily or commercial as quickly as you can if that's the avenue you want to go in.
Yeah, if it's part of your end game, if it's part of your ultimate goals. I think we talked about this last week, that if you can partner with somebody that knows what they're doing, is doing it, rather than trying to build it yourself from scratch and kind of making all the mistakes that you can along the way, you're probably going to get there a lot faster by going with somebody else.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. Well, I think that's it. We hit quite a few points, I think, and I think we hopefully armed people with, the ability to make a decision that I won. I mean, so that one of us won, I should say. No. And so go on to Facebook, vote and let us know. And then,
all right. Yeah. Because Todd's talking a lot of smack here. So I need some help here from you viewers. Give me some love here down in the comments. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Next time we'll have to do an arm wrestle.
Yeah. Well, for sure. All right. Well, John, I appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next week. Where can our listeners reach us, get a hold of us, make comments, all that kind of stuff?
Yep. The key is to know our name, Pillars of Wealth Creation. Go ahead and type that into YouTube, on Facebook, SoundCloud, iTunes. And while you're there, be sure to hit that 5 stars, hit the like button, all that type of stuff. And make sure you hit the subscribe as well. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. And, I appreciate all the listeners that listen every week, and several of them have commented on our, Facebook page or YouTube. We've got a bunch of reviews, and it's so much fun hearing that and interacting with people. And I was just talking to a person the other day who says they've been listening to me a lot and gave a lot of positive feedback. So it's a lot of fun hearing that, and just hopefully providing value. So, I try to say it every week, and I probably don't enough, but I appreciate everybody listening. And again, if you've got anything you want us to talk about, if you've got guests that you think would be of value, if you're struggling with anything, in particular real estate, but anything business wise, we'd love to talk about it, and try to, answer your questions. And if we don't know the answer, because, quite frankly, we don't know the answer to everything. But if we don't know the answer, we're going to try to find the answer. We're going to try to find an expert that knows the answer, and maybe have them on as a guest of the show and get your questions answered. So.
Sounds good. Well, I'm going to steal your line and say, make every day a Saturday.
Oh, John, you didn't do it. You didn't do it. Oh, man. Well, what do you say every time? I don't know. See you later. Make every day a Saturday. Peace out. Are you ready to start investing in real estate today but don't know where to start? Sometimes investing can seem way too complicated, but it actually couldn't be any easier than with homeinvest.com. You know the co-founder and my friend Nate Armstrong. He appeared on episode 20, and if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it, episode number 20. Home Invest is a company that allows you to invest in turnkey real estate. Their goal is to build powerful investment tools that make real estate investing accessible to everyone. They have contractors and property managers available for you with the click of your mouse. While other real estate agents can only offer a property, Home Invest brings you a full turnkey package that allows you to diversify your investments, earn passive income, and start building equity in properties. Their simple, intuitive design allows newcomers and experienced investors alike to hit the ground running and to be able to choose the properties when they want and where they want. View easy to understand charts and data to allow you to buy in only a few clicks or just a simple phone call. With Home Invest, you'll be building your portfolio as quickly or as slowly as you would like. And right now, Home Invest is giving our listeners, Pillar of Wealth Creation listeners, a free course on how to finally win in real estate investing. So go to homeinvest.com/pillars. That's homeinvest.com/pillars to claim your free course today.